Alrighty, hello everybody. Welcome back to the Mania Long Note Tournament 3rd edition. We are rolling our way through the round of 16, bringing you guys a bit of a winner's bracket matchup here to start off the second half of the weekend, rolling on into Sunday for most of the world. As always, my name is Sparky, and I am joined by none other than Beat 43210. How you doing?
I'm doing very well. Just looking to see some exciting action, as you always do.
Yeah, for sure. We have, as I said earlier, a winner's bracket matchup. It's going to be GripWarrior going against Lami here. Bit of a cross the world matchup and pretty interesting matchup overall. GripWarrior recently featuring in the last edition of the Mania World Cup, and Lami haven't seen much of them in any tournament so far. I'm actually not sure of their tournament history off the top of my head, but able to make it this far in winners, got to be doing something right to be able to take down some of the opponents that they have.
Yep, and you know what? Can't wait for it. Hopefully we get some exciting action because there was supposed to be another match going on at this hour, but it has turned into a win by default.
Yeah, unfortunate to see that there. As you were mentioning, this was going to be a doubleheader. It was going to be Nan and Bandusty going up against Gezideo. Gezideo unfortunately having to bow out of the tournament. That was a losers bracket matchup, so it does push Nan and Bandusty on to the second half of the round of 16 weekend. Their weekend is not yet over. As it stands, so we'll be playing sometime later today. Unsure what time right off the top of my head, but we are rolling along with the warm-ups in this matchup in particular, and I think this is going to be a bit of an uphill climb for Lami. Probably going to do their best to hang on as best they can against GripWarrior. Now just noticing that they are flip positions. We'll get that sorted out before we proceed with what will potentially be the second warm-up.
Yep. They will get around to that eventually. I will have to say that GripWarrior did have a combo of just over 5,000, was almost going for a full combo. But that did not happen. And that is being followed up by an even harder map if you take star rating for its word. But hang on a minute, OD0.
Yeah, gotta love those OD0 LN maps. Pretty wonky timing, pretty common thing when it comes to some of these higher SR maps, especially if they are on the older side. Think other Mania games basically operate on like OD0, basically free-form timing on the releases. So this is probably going to be littered with a bunch of, or it's basically just going to be a density map, inflated a little bit with the star rating. Be interesting to see whose warm-up this was. Might give us a bit of insight as to where the players' headspaces are as we make our way into the actual match proceedings.
Yep. This is about 3 minutes in length, so you got a couple of minutes to go and get everything sorted before things kick off here in this exciting matchup between GripWarrior and Lami.
Yeah, you see a lot of these more staircase-oriented patterns. It is really where the inflation starts to come in, where you just have these really narrow release timings. You have the release window the size of a bus, so it makes you feel like a god while you're playing because you're just hitting 320s on literally everything. It's a pretty decent way of getting the fingers warm. You definitely don't want to go into the match cold and potentially find yourself finger locking, especially since you are going to be doing nothing but playing long notes, where when things start to pick up, you definitely want to have your fingers as limber as possible. And both players actually doing pretty good on this map in particular. No surprise that Grip is having the time of their life right now. 99.9% accuracy. A little bit of SV slow jam coming in here.
Well, to be fair, OD is 0, so it should be a bit easier to retain accuracy, but still, 99.90 is incredibly high.
Yeah, especially with a map as dense as this, as we crest our way through the halfway point. It does bear repeating once again. We are just over halfway done with this round of 16 weekend. Only a couple more losers bracket matches to sort out. The conditional matches will be following the majority of this weekend going into Sunday. There are only 2 winners bracket matches left, and that is going to be Sleek Girl going against Shoira and Demi-Fiend going against Gaysol later on today, 13 and 14 UTC respectively. Everybody else, lower bracket conditional matches.
I do have a question on who actually will be the next competitor, Lami or GripWarrior, whichever one of these two players emerges from top.
Ooh, that's a very good question. I don't have the bracket on me at the moment. I'm pretty sure once we finish off this match, we'll have a clearer picture as to who the winner of this match will be facing. Probably have that decided. That, or we can see if one of the matches upcoming will uh, be a determinant as to who will be
Fair
going
enough,
against
fair enough.
one of these two. So looks like the warm-ups are done. Couple of breaks from GripWarrior, unable to hold on to the FC, but still, that the scores are ridiculous from them.
Well, doesn't beat the 99 roll I saw yesterday with Potassium, so
Fair enough.
yeah, that was a 99 roll. That's not going to be beat in this tournament.
For sure, and the rolls do come in between these two players. Lami wins it out. 87 is higher than 59. And our referee reminded the players to switch slots before we get in here. Don't want any confusion as to who's doing better than the other as we make our way through the match. And it'll be up to Lami to decide how these match proceedings are going to go, if they want to do first protect or second.
Well, we will see. We have seen people going first and second, as I usually do. Personally, I prefer second. I do like the idea of being able to pick second, and I will take that any day of the week.
Fair enough, but Lami is going to opt to go against that train of thought, going to do everything first here. So Lami up to protect, and this is really going to give us some insight as to what their approach is going to be here. How do you go up against one of the highest seeds in the winners bracket in GripWarrior? Do you opt to go for the density and try and hope that they catch some misses along the way, or do you try and challenge them in accuracy? It looks like it's going to be coordination 3, so Zetai coming out here from Lami.
Yep, that map is a bit of a challenge, especially if you do not have the coordination skills down pat. It can be room for Lami to brutally punish GripWarrior, especially if you're someone who can achieve a better ratio. May be able to give you a little bit of wiggle room on the accuracy front.
For sure, it's going to be a bit of a tall ask against one of the most accurate players in this tournament and in GripWarrior, so be interesting to see how they fare there. And GripWarriors protect started with density 3, moves it down to density 2, so fragment arc going to be the protect. Unsurprising, probably going to try and outmuscle their opponent on the density picks. Would not be surprised if Lami responded with a density ban. Oh, but instead they're going to opt with tech.
Giant steps. Yeah, giant steps. Getting some giant rejection as it is banned from the match.
Absolutely, a very popular ban so far this weekend. I think we've only seen it a handful of times throughout the matches. I think the last one featured it as well. And the ban from GripWarrior is going to be Undercover Martin. So Coordination 2 getting knocked out as well. No DMCA allowed in this particular matchup.
Woo!
Able to listen to everything uninterrupted. I mean, to be fair, if you really were desperate to listen to it, just pull it up on a different tab and just listen along on the VOD. But not going to be an issue here. And Lami's first pick gonna be wildcard 1, so lower half of the map pool. Comet Coaster gonna come out here.
Yep. This song will be played on the Frizzle difficulty, mapped by Chu. And the players are actually getting ready to go real quick, as MP will start in about 10 seconds time. And I hope you all are excited as things kick off here in this best of 9. The first 5 points will do the trick.
Yeah, we'll be moving on to the quarterfinals in the winners bracket. Not that big of a consequence for losing, just dropping down into that lower bracket. But to be fair, there are quite a couple of really dangerous players lurking in that lower bracket. Could find yourself with a very unfortunate matchup as we kick things off here.
All right. Now, this song does have a relatively calm introduction, but not too calm. As the beat drops and the first kind of chorus begins.
Yep, making our way into the second quarter of the map, we see GripWarrior eking out a tiny bit of an accuracy advantage. Both players still holding on to their FCs through the introduction here. 99.9 to that 99.7 of Lami. Lami still within striking distance here if GripWarrior were to find a bit of a slip up here. But the level of consistency that GripWarrior has shown throughout this tournament, going to make it a bit of tough going so far, but still in it with a shout here going into the second third of the map.
Yep, and Lami, despite picking this map first, is actually behind, and is behind by a considerable margin, as GripWarrior is outperforming, albeit very slightly.
Yeah, it's one of those things where the fine margins, and Lami going to be finding a bit of a misread here, going to be expanding the lead for GripWarrior going into the back half as the road for recovery for them. That hill became a mountain very quickly.
Yeah, and now Lami, he has a very tough order ahead as he has to recover about 15,000 points in the last third against a player who has yet to miss and is running extremely hot right now with 99.8%.
Yeah, that's basically an untouchable score. Lami gonna need to hope for a miss coming out from GripWarrior in this last quarter, but so far still holding on to the FC. I feel like that cushion from GripWarrior is enough to sustain them this late on into the map should they find a drop, but it is going to be very unlikely as we wind this map down. Lami doing very well to recover from a little bit of a hiccup there, getting back up to that 99.6 range, but it is not going to be enough as this first map comes to an end. It will be GripWarrior taking the first breakpoint in this match, a 996 to kick things off.
Yeah, and getting a ratio of about 13-1 with only one great to show for it. That is a very phenomenal start for GripWarrior. Picks up the breakpoint, picks up an absolutely insane result. And Lami, despite picking up 6 greats and a really solid ratio of about 9-1, can't get the job done. And will be in a rough position as GripWarrior prepares to make his first pick.
Yeah, I was looking good from the get-go from GripWarrior. It looks like Lami finding a bit of lag that might explain the drop that they had. It's very unfortunate, but it is what it is. Got to shake it off. Don't let it get to you too much. There's still plenty of match to come, and GripWarrior are going to opt to continue with the wildcards. Fractalize coming out here.
Yep, wildcard too. They do definitely like some wild picks, and Fractalize will be next selected.
Yeah, and these two, oh my goodness, the speed of which they're getting ready.
Yeah, I was about to say, I'm just like, and they're going straight into it. No cooldown whatsoever. They wanted to keep the intensity hot, and so it will be done.
Yep, just waiting for Banjo to get everything synced up. Seems like the client's the only thing not ready for the frenetic pace these two want to take this match at. And you imagine the accuracy is going to start to even out as the map progresses. But right now, hot starts from both players, 99.8 apiece, separated by a couple of 300s, a couple of uh, scattered releases. But I think this is about as good a start as Lami could have hoped for going into the second quarter of the map already. A very short map by comparison to some of the other ones in this pool.
Yeah, and Lami is just trying to be relatively competitive and is actually edging out a considerable amount of points despite being down nearly a whole 0.1% on the accuracy front. I don't know how that's even possible, but it is happening, and it's keeping Lami in an absolute nail-biter of a fight right here.
Yeah, going into the back half of the map, you see Lami starting to drop just a little bit here. Going to give GripWarrior a bit of a cushion to work with. A couple of 200s maybe coming out on the transition into the back half of the map, but still keeping it relatively close, still able to capitalize if GripWarrior were to find any sort of slip up going into the last third of the map. But that accuracy lead has expanded ever so slightly. It is now GripWarrior about to crest that 99.9% mark. Lami still needs to get back up to 99.8 to try and contest here, but last quarter of the map still to go, and both FCs still intact here. No more lag spikes coming out from Lami, thankfully, so far. Still silver map left to go though.
And GripWarrior trying to bring it home, but it is an incredibly tight race where even 99.9 may not be enough, which is a sad thing to say, but it might happen. But he will get away with it, and GripWarrior with another 996k performance gets away.
I think the only thing that GripWarrior might be upset about is the fact that they've gone 2 maps already with 1 200. No V1SSs so far for them, but it is enough to get the job done here. So long as your score is higher than your opponent's, that's all that should matter as they pick up their second point here, taking it 2-0 as it stands, as Lami decides to go for Coordination 3. Their Protect coming out halfway through the match.
And here we go, going into the Protect, Coordination 3. Now, I said this correctly yesterday, but I don't remember. I can't read, so I've already forgotten what the entire name is. So, it's just we're just gonna call it Coordination 3, and
Yeah,
just
for
roll
sure.
with that. Yeah.
I can't.
Nope.
I'm not even gonna try.
Nope. Nope. Another day. Another day. I referred to yesterday for the pronunciation of this song.
Yeah, just go watch one of the earlier VODs from
Somebody
the
love
weekend.
it.
Yep, for sure. And as we make our way through this introduction, again, very hot starts from both the players, able to stay up in that 99.8% range.
But this song definitely does have incredible amounts of awareness that you need to have, because if you get the wrong line, or if you just let go that a little bit too early, a little bit too late, you will find yourself falling behind rather quickly, especially with how well GripWarrior and Lami have been playing. You don't want to give up an inch.
Yeah, for sure. And that inch is dropping any sorts of 200s. It feels like these two are at each other's throats right now in terms of how tight they're keeping these ratios. Sure, GripWarrior is finding half the amount of 300s that Lami is, but that can change in an instant if those 200s start to come out from GripWarrior. But it is not to be so far as we start to make our approach into the second half of the map. It has been the same story we have seen throughout the first 2 picks so far. About 0.1% of a difference between Lami and GripWarrior going into that back half, and it is up to Lami to keep within lockstep to try and capitalize on any sort of slip-ups that GripWarrior might find. But so far, 2 for 2 in terms of immaculate performances from GripWarrior is going to be a bit of rough going for Lami here.
Yeah, and so far, going into the last third, if not quarter of the song, nothing has changed. GripWarrior just maintaining about twice the better ratio than Lami is. which is an absolute shocker to say because Lami is doing such a strong run. 99.73, that would be enough to win against the majority of the players in this field, but not GripWarrior, because GripWarrior is ahead by about 5,000 points and is continuing to build that momentum heading into the grand finale here.
You are absolutely correct, and those are just that's what separates those good players from those great players right now. It is a fantastic run from Lami when all is said and done. 99.7 as we wait for everything to sync up. It is still a 6,000 point difference between these two players, and like you said, against anybody else, Lami's run beats out most of the player field remaining, but it is not going to be enough. A 990,000 point score falls, and GripWarrior picks up their first V1 SS and the third point in this match.
Yeah, another 900, almost another 996k score, and with a 12-to-1 ratio, absolutely a fantastic result by GripWarrior, making this a 3-0. But that is not to put Lami into any discredit. Lami had a very strong performance as well, but just unfortunately against this caliber of competition, not there right now, and that is why Lami is still unable to get on the board through no fault of his own.
Yeah, absolutely. The result doesn't do Lami any justice, as again we're continuing with this match speed run. We have yet to have a chance to analyze anything that has happened. We're going into late night. For those of you on the western side of the world, it is a late night.
Yeah,
Let's do our fourth map.
and Lami is about to have a very long night if Lami is unable to get his points on the board sooner rather than later. I say that knowing full well that it's about 12 o'clock in South Korean time.
Yeah, what is it?
It's like literally the most opposite time of the day, and I thought, oh yeah, no, it's gonna be a long night. Nope, not even close.
Gotta
Absolute
fulfill our
smooth
narrative.
brain right there. Great job, everyone.
We do our best, and right now,
We do
oh
our
my
best.
goodness, this is once again 4 for 4 on the incredible starts from both of these players. We're gonna see once again GripWarrior take an accuracy advantage. Where have you seen this story before, going into the second quarter of the map? But it is in touching distance for Lami right now, 0.08% separating the two players, but Lami's going to pick up an unfortunate 200 that's going to damage their accuracy, bring them down into that low 0.7 range, and we're going to establish it once again, that 0.1% that Lami needs to overcome GripWarrior. They need to find it within themselves to maintain enough to close off that distance, just enough to capitalize on anything that GripWarrior might give them, but they are not giving anything their way.
Yeah, and going into the halfway point of the song, we've said this before, and we will say it again. GripWarrior is ahead by about 3,000 points. The man just refuses to give an advantage, and this quiet section is going to bring Lami no favors.
No, absolutely not. When things start to calm down, that's when GripWarrior really starts to climb in terms of accuracy, and I don't think we've seen them fall below that 99.8 mark. That is about as dangerously close as they have gotten, but compared to Lami, 99.67, a pretty good run by most people's standards, is not going to be enough, and this lead continues to grow as we make our way into the last third of the map. About a minute still to go. Anything can still happen. Any slip ups, any combo breaks, and that lead's immediately going to shift over to the right.
Yeah, and Lami just playing his absolute best, needs to somehow make a recovery, but that is not going to be possible on consistency alone. GripWarrior will need to pick up a couple of 200s, or ideally a miss for things to flip.
Yeah, absolutely. Last quarter of the map upcoming. Pattern starts to get a little bit more dense. The releases start to get a little bit more confusing to keep track of, but both these players, the consummate professionals that they are, able to read their way through it relatively unscathed. You see Lami picking up another couple of 200s, damaging their accuracy even further and widening this gap that GripWarrior has built up. Still in that 99.8 range, does finally slip under it for just a brief moment. Might have picked up a 200 in that sequence, and there's one for sure.
Yeah, but it's not going to change the result here. GripWarrior will win this and put this at a quick 4-0. But, wow, just shocking results here as GripWarrior continues to shine above and beyond Lami's incredibly high bars.
For sure, it's hard to shine when somebody else is just that little bit brighter than you are. And oh my goodness, that's a lot of threes on the
It
side of
is.
GripWarrior.
The man is, at least it's threes and not 7-2-7. So we can't go wrong with that.
I refuse to see it, and thankfully it is not present before our eyes. And
All is good in the world.
for sure.
Oh, that stream chat will ruin it. Alright, anyways, time for Rocket Rocket. Which, no, that's not the actual name of the song, that's just the chat filters. Because apparently the word Pico Pico is actually a filtered word. As we found out yesterday. Yeah.
Can imagine how long
I
that
don't know
conversation
why,
went.
but yeah, Rocket Rocket Tokyo, that's what the song shall be known as now. Because remember, I mean, this is not Mania World Cup, but we have to follow all the filtered rules. It must be obligatory. So, yes. But anyways, this is Pico Pico, consistency one. Coordination one, my bad. That we have seen ourselves with this map before. It is incredibly tough, especially for Lami, who has been less consistent on a map that a lot of players have not really picked up misses on, which kind of confuses me as to why Lami would take such a gamble on a map like this. But who knows? We have seen shockers before.
Yeah, for sure. Able to hold their own through this first quarter of the map, not take too much damage to their accuracy. 99.7, and stop me if you've heard this before. It is, well, it's almost 0.2% now. Breaking the narratives that we've set up.
I've heard that one before.
For sure. And GripWarrior are going to be establishing this advantage. I think Lami might have thrown this out, maybe less for the strategic element. Maybe they just enjoy the song. They want to go out on something that they enjoy playing versus something that might put them in a bit of a foul mood to kick off their Sunday. As we make our way into the back half of the map, things start to calm down just a little bit here. Full of quick little trills, quick little bursts. Trivial for the likes of GripWarrior here. 99.88% accuracy for them to work with. 0.2%, the advantage for them as we make our way into the last third of the map, and it is going to take pretty much a break. The ball has not been in Lami's court throughout this entire match. It is going to be up to GripWarrior to learn how to share.
Nah. The man has a grip on the ball, has a grip on the point, has a grip on the lead, and has a grip on nearly 99.9%. And he ain't gonna give it up for anybody or anything.
Almost like it's part of their name. Last quarter of the map to go. Lami's still trying to stay within striking distance to try and capitalize on anything, but they are working with scraps right now. That GripWarrior is giving them a couple of 300s here and there by the wayside, but as soon as they give it, they take it back and they start climbing in accuracy. It is 99.88 basically throughout the rest of the way. Last sliver of the map left to go. Last sliver of this match, unless there is a complete collapse, but it's not going to happen.
Well, look, you say that, but Potassium had a nasty surprise yesterday because someone had a computer lock or like a computer freeze and flip things at the very end, but that will... Client? Oh, okay, there we go. Internet for a second actually froze. I would have laughed.
You would have called it right then and there.
It would have been absolutely fantastic. But GripWarrior does pick up the victory, winning 5-0. Quick sweep. Absolute disgrace in terms of how Lami played, but was absolutely not rewarded for the effort. But both players are ET. That's a good way to summarize it.
For sure. Lami not out of it just yet. We'll just be dropping down into that lower bracket group where you're going to be moving on to the quarterfinals in the winners bracket and continue their march through this bracket. I don't think they have dropped a point so far this tournament. I think that can be
Wouldn't
said
look like
about
it, especially with how well GripWarrior's played the first few pools.
exactly. So I think the top five so far are pretty much untouchable for the moment. I think once they start meeting each other, it'll be a bit more electrifying. But with that being said, I wonder if we can pull up that bracket here. Like I said, like we were mentioning at the top of the broadcast, there are a couple of winners bracket matches left to go through here.
Yeah, let's
As
have
we-
a look.
So Sleek Girl Shoira, Demi Fiend, and Gaysol. Those two matches going to determine that end of the bracket. Mr.
I
Moo
can't
winning
find-
their match.
I can't find it.
I think it's above the Miku aimbot Pavin match.
Oh,
And
I might have
if,
missed it then.
if we can go up just ever, it's not going to happen here.
Not.
It's going to be a
Oh, there we
US-UK
go.
match
Nice
of
one.
Ting Momentum against GripWarrior. In the one
lower.
aspect of the
There you
bracket
go.
that, there we go, finally got there. So the US-UK matchup in the quarterfinals, basically 1v1 rematch of the Mania World Cup, where Team UK fell to the Team USA. And I think we can see where Lami ends up in the lower
actually.
bracket.
GripWarrior actually dropped the point to Cryolan.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So not untouchable here.
Not untouchable, yeah.
So Lami will be facing the winner between Stygics and I think that's Shiro de Fresa and Elon Musk. So that'll be a very interesting matchup as well. Will be determined next weekend. But with that being said, we said as well at the top of the broadcast, Nanomban Dusty won by default against Gezideo. Had to drop out of the tournament. Very unfortunate there.
Yeah.
But in about 24 minutes, we'll be right back with the action. A fresh set of commentators will be Era Frostno going against Achino.
Yep, and that's going to be an exciting thing ahead of us, but I will unfortunately have to take my leave for the week. It's been exciting matches all across both Saturday and Sunday here, and I hope to come back in the next week to continue through what will be a very exciting quarterfinals lineup shaping up ahead of us in the Oceania LN number 3 tournament.
For sure. But until then, take a break, get some water. We'll catch you guys in about 20 minutes.
Take care. Okay, that timing is perfect.